Hello and welcome. Cool. Oh, I think I got one. Yep. All right. I think we're in Facebook. Give me a second, everybody. Gonna make sure this thing is working. What's up? Chris Hollywood here from the Ace Formula. Hope you guys are well. Confidential dating advice group members. Ask the dating coach. I will be your dating coach for the day. I'm just double checking all my tech is good. All right, what up? We got Ben Newcomb, OG. What's up, man? Good to see you. Glad you could make it. I'm gonna give some people a few more minutes to get on. Cool. So I got a bunch of questions that were sent. What's up, Aaron? Good to see you, man. Yep, I got a bunch of questions to go through that were sent in advance. So I'm gonna hit those up. And then obviously if you guys got any questions or any follow-up questions, put them in the chat and I'll hit those at the end. Rupam, welcome, dude. Welcome. Everybody can hear me. Sound check. I think I'm good. We did a little technical test this morning and that worked out well. Gonna give people a few more minutes. Rupam, good to see you, dude. Cool. I'm gonna get busy. Yeah, looking good on YouTube and Ask the Dating Coach. Yep, good. Cool. Got my friend Farhad up in here. All right. So I am going to, yeah, we only got an hour and then I got to get on the Ace Formula call. Some of you might be on that. So I'm going to go and get busy so I have enough time for some handle all I had a list of questions that were sent in advance about abundance primarily. Obviously, I'm Chris Hollywood from the Ace Formula. I'm the resident abundance coach for the Ace Formula. Welcome. I am one of the coaches at Ask the Dating Coach. Hope you guys enjoy what we're going to go through today. Again, feel free to put any comments, questions, follow-up questions in the chat, and we'll get all those today. What's up, Barnes? Vindy, that's Vindy. All right. Vindy's got a funny handle. Cool. So I'm gonna jump into it. I'm gonna get these questions. And again, if you guys got any other things that you want me to get to, I will do so at the end. All right. So being the abundance coach for the ACE formula, the most important things that people ask me is, what does it mean to have an abundance mentality when it comes to dating people? So I'm going to start with that. Everyone ready? Giddy up. All right. So what does it mean to have an abundance mentality when dating people? That's a really good question. It's something that I handle as the abundance coach in the ACE formula all the time. Having an abundance mentality, I think, is really um, being realizing that not everything is pent up into say one interaction, and your whole dating life or social life isn't predicated on one interaction or with one person. Having an abundance approach, just keeping in mind that look, there are plenty of fish in the sea. I know it's cliche, but like that's the point. There, I don't know what's the world population, like 6 billion, 7 billion, or something like that. There's a lot of people. There's a countless number of people. And again, one of the things we teach in the ACE formula is if you're not having that experience, if that's not true to you in your current life, well, then there's steps you can take, and that's what the whole ACE formula is about. At least my part, the abundance section, right? But uh, knowing that you have many options and have many choices, and not being tied into just one, right? And keeping that in mind when you're dating the person that um, it not to sound crude, but the person in your life, like people aren't necessarily replaceable, but the role they play in your life is replaceable. Biggie's has a song, it's my favorite. It's like, I don't chase them, I replace them. And there's like a lot of wisdom in that, right? It's you don't want to be chasing people to perform a role in your life or to serve you, right? You want people to offer their their contribution to your life. And same with you. You offer yourself in any number of capacities, right? It might be professionally, it might be as a family member, again, it might be romantically and sexually, right? You want people offering themselves to you, and if they're not, then just realize that there's several million more people that are viable candidates, um, who will do that, and just keeping that in mind. And I think the key to having an abundance mentality while dating is just knowing that like you have a lot of options, right? And if you're not feeling that you have a lot of options, well then there's steps you need to take because they're there. Like there are human beings. Just look at how many people are on dating sites and dating apps, divorce rates and people who are single. Like there are people who want to fill that role in your life. You just have to find them, and then interact with them in a proper way. And again, the whole ACE formula talks about that, and I teach some of that. But I think that's the idea: is you have a lot of choice, and not to build too much up into any one interaction and feel like you have too much riding on any one interaction. Cool. Hope that makes abundance clear. Um, so in stark contrast, what does it mean to have scarcity? What does it mean to have a scarcity mindset when dating people? Um, a scarcity mindset when it comes to dating is thinking that this person that's in front of me now, whether you just met them at a bar or a coffee shop, or if you're in a relationship, or you might even be in a relationship for a very long time, that this is the end all and be all to my sex life, dating, romantic life. And that's just not true. I think I like this song. What's this Eminem song? Lose Yourself. I think it's called Lose Yourself. Like it's like you gotta lose yourself in the moment. Don't ever let it go. You only get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow, because opportunity comes once in a lifetime. And I think Eminem is great. Love Eminem, and everyone like relates to that, and it's one of his like most popular songs. But that's just not true, right? And that's a scarcity mindset. It's like this is my one opportunity to like find love and sex and romance and friendship for the rest of my life. It's like that's just not true. And like even in business or in any area of life, again, the opposite of an abundance mentality is a scarcity mentality. And I think a lot of times we fall into that. And I think that's why that's such a great song, because people can relate to that, And if you listen to the rest of the lyrics, it's a really meaningful song about his struggle to get out of his circumstances and his opportunity to be, successful as a rapper. I think a lot of times in dating, people approach, the first date, and I go on about this a lot when I'm teaching my abundance students in the ACE formula about first dates and how like just the concept of how first dates are typically approached is so stressful, because it's like that song. It's like, do not miss your chance to blow. This has to turn into marriage and children and a family, and we must stay together for the rest of our lives. And you're putting all that into just meeting a person, into a first date. Like it should be really mad chill, right? And it's like it should, hey, let's just get to know each other. Let's have a coffee, have a drink, let's talk about whatever, the news, the weather. Like keep it light, and then see, maybe like the scarcity mentality is the exact opposite. It's like I gotta see if this is gonna work. Is this gonna go all the way? Is this gonna be a touchdown? Am I gonna have, you know, 2.4 kids and a dog with this person 10 years down the line? And if it doesn't, then like I'm gonna die. Like it's the end of my existence, and I'm a failure. And I think that's the scarcity mentalities, and then also, you know, being, if you're in a relationship, you'd be like, yo, this relationship has to work. And I think a lot of times just like accepting the fact, like, look, sometimes relationships end. They run their course. People are, I love this expression. I don't know where I got it, but um, people come into your life for a reason, a season, or for life. And like the number of people are going to come into your life for life are very few. And you just have to realize that like the odds that someone is going to match where you are and be the perfect combo for you now, and then next year, and then 10 years from now, and then 40 years from now. I mean, that means you got to be perfectly in the same place right now, or at least complementary, and that you're going to grow at the same rate in the same place and time, right? That's really hard. And the idea that, like, look, that can happen, and it does. But being like, hey, I have to find that person now. And this person that's in front of me right now, that I'm focused on right now, needs to be that, and that there aren't, again, another what 6 billion people. I mean, like, well, I guess half that, like 3 billion, depending, if you're heterosexual, right? Like, there's a lot of people, just billions of people, who could fit that role, and thinking that everything rides on that moment. Again, I love that Eminem song. Yeah. Okay. What's up, Ben? Yeah, Ben found that too. Yep. Exactly, yeah, Ben. Get on the Ace calls. Sign up with Ace. I know you've been before, but like that's what it's about, right? And that's the value of the abundance mentality, as opposed to a scarcity mentality, and just feeling that, like, if you don't make this interaction happen, um, it's a failure. And quite frankly, that's actually a self-fulfilling prophecy, and I teach a lot of that in the Ace formula. If you approach it with that pressure and stress and that scarcity mindset on a first, again, just let's start at a first date, then you're putting so much tension and pressure in it that's very, like, not attractive. And, like, I don't want to get too deep into that, but, like, I mean, just imagine, like, how do you think that's going to come off? It's like, hey, on our first date, we've known each other for 5 minutes, maybe we met on a dating app, or maybe we just bumped into each other, or friends of friends. And so this is an interview to see, what school are we going to send our kids to 15 years from now. It's like, that's a lot of pressure, right? Really, we have to make all those choices and decisions now, and there's, like, no backseas, there's no do-overs, right? That's the scarcity mindset. It's so difficult to proceed that way, and it's very unattractive and not comforting. And all the things that we want in love and romance or whatever have you, it's the exact opposite of that. So that's the scarcity mentality in dating, and why we generally want to avoid that, and focus on abundance. Cool. All right, Ben's back in Ace. Good stuff. So yeah, we got a call right after this one at 4 Central Time. So um, hope to see you there. All right, let me move into the next question. I love talking about this stuff, but I'm trying to be mindful of time, because I know you guys probably just booked an hour for it, and I want to get through everyone's questions that they sent in advance. Um, Cool. So, how do you get over a scarcity mentality when it comes to dating? The key to getting over a scarcity mentality, which sadly, most of the world is in, and, Hollywood and society, I'd say, force us into a scarcity mentality, or at least encourage it. The way to get over it, and what I often cover when I teach abundance in the ACE Formula program, is, exposure, right? Expose yourself to all those options, for friendship, for sexual partnership, for relationships, for romance, right? Like, go be socially active, go be around a lot of people and see all the options, right? Like, just, if you, I don't know, join a hiking group, right? And talk to all the people in the hiking group, right? If you got 20 people in the hiking group, statistically, half of them are going to be women, right? And, you know, see how many of them are single. I bet half of them are single, if not more. And that's the point. Just knowing that, right, and being in contact with more people, it'll show you that you have more options. Also, again, there's dozens of dating apps. Like, going, I've got like 8 of them on my phone, right? Being on the dating apps and just go through it. Like, there's thousands, maybe even millions of women on these dating apps, and there's, like, they're probably not on all of them, right? And so you got 8 to 12 dating apps with hundreds of thousands of women on each of them. Like, all these women are either single or not getting the sexual relationships and romance that they want. They're not being fulfilled. That's why they're on the app, just like you, right? And so, like, these people are there, right? And again, there's ways to online dating and dating apps are one way to meet people, but, like, physically going and doing events and being interactive and face-to-face social is also a way. But again, just the key to break the scarcity mentality, um, especially, again, if you find yourself stuck in that, the first step to getting to an abundance mentality is expose yourself to a lot of people. And anyone, the guys who are on here, who are part of the ACE formula, will know. It's like, oh, there goes Hollywood again. He says that all the time, right? That's like key introductory homeworks when you join the ACE formula, and you're learning abundance. For me, is, you need to expose yourself to a lot of people, right? Not like physically, to hope that to come over, right? You got to be interacting with a lot of people on dating apps, in the flesh, face to face, and every possible way, right? And again, not necessarily just people who can be sexual partners with you, but just people in general. Like just be more social and just realize there's a lot of people. And then something that is worth mentioning, because out of, I don't know, we got 50 plus or so students in ACE like currently. Um, there's at least three right now that are moving. And I think, if you do find that you happen to be, I don't know, in a small town in the middle of nowhere, um, and there just are very few people there. If you're in, a small town and 80% of the population are senior citizens, and that just happens to be where you live now for whatever reason, right? Then like move, right? Because again, your experiencing of scarcity in terms of, dating romantic options, like that's not reality. That's your reality right now where you are right now. But that's not the global macro true reality. Like go move to a big city or just move to like a medium-sized town or move to a small town that's, different demographics. But some of my most successful private students and also students on ACE are actually move, and they find that again one of the biggest things holding them back was they were stuck in a scarcity mentality, and that's partly the way they were thinking. Again, they were thinking like this is where I live and I have to live here, and that's not true. So going to a place where there's a target rich environment, again focusing on abundance and seeking abundance. um, I mean, it's part of the abundance mindset. I mean, it's not just like you can meditate on abundance and suddenly, women are going to come to your house and knock on your door. Like you do have to do stuff. But, what are you doing and what types of things are you doing? What types of actions are you taking? Again, that abundance mindset and philosophy and focus will tell you, hey, oh, if I want to meet a lot of, women that are about my age that are single, being in a small town with a population of 300 and 80% of them are senior citizens, that's not going to work so well because I'm 35 and, you know, that leaves one person that I could reasonably date. Okay, fine. In that town. So go move somewhere else. Go move to LA, go move to Miami, go to Chicago, New York, anywhere. Right. So that's important. Good deal. All right. Hope you guys are enjoying this and adding value to your abundance mentalities. Let's see. Oh, this is a good one. This is a good one. So, so why are women attracted to men who have an abundance mentality? This is a great question. Um, there's a few elements to why women are attracted to men with an abundance mentality. The first one is again just having an abundant mentality. The opposite of scarcity makes a person just more generous, right? And more relaxed. There's two elements, right? If you have scarcity, then you're really tight, right? Again, I've talked about this before. One of my favorite songs is that Eminem, Lose Yourself in the Moment, right? Like that, the whole energy of that song is really tight and pent up aggression and energy, and it's like there's fear and it's just it's emotional, but it's not really a positive mode. It's not joy and happiness and jubilation. It's like, oh my god, I'm gonna die if I don't do this. I gotta fight, and like it, people like it. It's a good song to like get hyped up before you play a football game or like go to war or something. But that's not an energy that's generally going to be attractive, right? A man who exudes a feeling of calm and comfort and security and generosity. Hey, we lose that, we'll get another one, right? Oh, miss that opportunity. Don't worry, there'll be plenty coming down the road, right? And is not stressing very small perceived losses and just focusing on, hey, there'll be more opportunities, right? Again, like that would make for a very different Eminem song and probably wouldn't have been so popular because people relate to that stress. But again, women are generally going to be attracted to the man that's going to make them feel like, hey, everything's okay, right? They will, women are generally going to be attracted to a leader who's like, hey, I got it. Everything's going to be cool. We'll figure things out. We'll try again. We'll work on it. We'll build and can bring that sense of calm and stability, right? Because that's always comforting. Like people want to hang out in that environment. Everyone's going to be attracted, not just women, but like everyone wants to be around someone who's going to be like, hey, you know, things are going to be cool. Everything's going to be okay. We're going into a presidential election, right? And like, that's different strategy, but generally, the current strategy of politics is maybe not so much that. Um, but in some ways it is. It's like, hey, the world is going to hell in a handbasket. I'm the one that's gonna make it, calm, and I'll lead us through, to the promised land and make the world a calm, safer, more reliable place, right? That's what everyone wants in a president, and the strategy of how you present yourself that way, is what it is. Arguably could be better, but you can see both sides. Everyone in politics, at least at the high level, that's what they're doing, right? They're like, hey, things are really dangerous, but if you side with me, I'll make things everything calm and cool. Don't worry, I'll get us through the tough times. Everything's gonna be right, no sweat, right? That's attractive. That's what every presidential candidate's trying to do. And again, that's attractive to both men and women. Everyone wants to be around someone who's gonna make things cool and relax. And so that's the primary element of the abundance mentality, and why it's attractive. Again, it's particularly for men with women. It's just knowing, hey, everything's going to be cool. I'll take care of it. We're good. We have more than we need. Everything's going to be fine. Nothing to stress about, because in an environment like that, it's safe to raise children, right? If we're in a scarcity environment, we're not going to make children, right? And at the end of the day, that's what dating and relationships are all about. It's to get to children, right? And so all the things that women find attractive in men and men find attractive in women are really signals and signs to determine what's the probability this person is going to be a good mother or father, right? That's what it's all about. At the end of the day, it's children. And so if I'm exuding a scarcity mentality, it's like, oh, there's not enough. I'm stressed out. You know, we're in a state of lack. There's famine. I don't know if we're going to be able to pay the rent. I don't know if we're going to have enough food or whatever have you. Or if even I'm just stressed out about like small things, like, the football game or whatever have you. If I'm generally exuding a lacking scarcity mindset, that's going to make other people feel, the people around me, particularly a woman who might be considering me as a partner, feel very concerned and scared, and not in the mindset of, hey, this is a good person to make children with, because our children will be safe and have great opportunity to grow and flourish, right? So that's the big piece. The second bit I want to touch on, and why abundance an abundance mentality makes men appear attractive, is that there's very little pressure, right? If I have an abundance mentality as a man, right, and I'm going to the world with the mindset of, hey, if this woman isn't the person I spend the rest of my life with, the next person might be, right? And I'm not putting all of that weight in any one meeting or any one woman that I'm interacting with, right? That's very low stress, very low pressure, right? Again, that's going to make women feel comfortable. Secondly, it's going to mean, hey, I'm one of the important things is, again, playing the field and having an abundance of options. I know that, hey, I'm friends with a lot of women. Some of them may remain just friends. Some of them may become business partners. Some of them may be, potential girlfriends and relationships. And some of them may not just stop there, but become, partners to raise children with. And like, there's the whole spectrum, and there's many little points between it. I'm not riding on or betting on any one going the distance and being the one person I spend the rest of my life with, and we have to decide that now. And the fact that there are many options around me triggers a concept of pre-selection, where other women can see, hey, that woman over there seems very comfortable with Christopher and is friendly with him and likes him and thinks that he's a good guy, right? Oh, okay, so he must be a safe, nice individual and makes people feel comfortable, right? And that has a network type of effect, which we refer to in pre-selection. And I teach a lot of that in the abundance section of the ACE formula. But that's the other angle, is like having that abundance mentality triggers a lot of pre-selection, and that's really powerful as well. I didn't know Mr. Potato. Oh god, we got some cheese dick heckling me. That's fucking hilarious. Okay, cool. Oh wow, again. That's so much fun. I feel really special now. I've never had that before. All right, cool. So again, I hope that's helpful. So let's move on. Good, we're on schedule. All right, how to develop and okay. So how do you develop a abundance mentality in your dating life? The key to developing an abundance mentality in your dating life and applying abundance to that area of your life is, again, playing the field. Um, you know, we go into the world with essentially no dating experience, right? Like, we might have role models, and again, even that's limited, right? You got one set of parents and you got a bunch of Hollywood movies and things or whatever have you. That's not the best, that doesn't put you into the world with a lot of experience. It gives you, all the Hollywood stereotypes and then like whatever your parents' interactions were. And that's just one sample size, right? Adam did a seminar recently about getting over a breakup. And one of the key elements was playing the field and not rushing into a new relationship too quickly. And I think that it's great advice always, not just after a breakup, but, at any point, you never want to be jumping into a relationship too quickly. And dating and just like really the art of dating is so important, and keeping your options open and playing the field. And again, doing it in an element, or sorry, doing it in a manner of with integrity and openness and honesty, and just being very clear. It's like, hey, I'm not starting to, this isn't the first date in a 20-year marriage. This is, let's just hang out, let's get to know each other, and dating a lot of people, and doing that at least for 6 months, right? Before, again, if your goal is to be in a one-on-one monogamous relationship, then again, take 6 months where you're dating, several dozen people, over that period, so you get a lot of experience and you see all of the options that you do actually have, that you have a lot in common and can have a fun time with, and have some, rapport and attraction, with a number of different women, uh, before you say, okay, this is the person that I want to like put, a very large percentage of my time and attention into. And I think that's the key when it comes, to applying an abundance approach to actual dating, is again that period where, again, if your focus is, I definitely want to be in a monogamous relationship, long-term relationship, whatever it happens to be, giving yourself like an incubation period to again play the field and have a large sample set. Because if you don't, what happens is the first person that comes along, you're in a relationship with them, and that's going to last anywhere from 3 to 18 months, right? I think the average length of like an actual relationship that like sticks is like about 18 months, somewhere between like a year and two, right? And so now you're 2 years down the road, and what have you learned? You've learned one person and how you react and interact with one person. And now you're 2 years older, 2 years of time lost, and now you're going to do that again, right? And so, say from the age of 20 to 30, you do that 5 times. So are you that much more experienced? You know that much more about dating and interacting with a partner at the age of 30 than you did at 20? Not really. You've had 5 sample sets, right, to see how you get on with people. And there was so much writing on it because you jumped into, a monogamous relationship that's, geared towards, this is the person, I have to make it work, and that gets really messy. And then, if if you didn't break up well, then you've got a lot of bad feelings, and there's some baggage there, and now you're bringing that into next one, right? And there's no time to say decompress, put the old relationship behind you, any baggage, any issues that you've had from that, put those feelings aside, or at least have time to process them, and then make an educated decision to go forward if the first person that is a viable option you then lock in for 2 years. So it's really important, again, to have some time before a relationship, before starting a relationship, to play the field. And that's really big in abundance, and we teach that a lot, in the ACE formula. Okay, so, oh, this is an interesting question. Okay, so how to have an abundance mentality, when dating without using, online dating and dating apps. The key to maintaining an abundance mentality without online dating and dating apps is to simply be more active and social. I find a lot of times when students come to me, if you look at their life, it's work, home, eat, sleep. It's work, home, eat, sleep. And that cycle continues. And it's just very not conducive to meeting more people and realizing that you do have an abundance of choice when it comes to dating and an abundance of options. Um, so the step one, and again, I go, anyone on the ACE formula knows, and I've heard me say this, and they know what I'm about to say. You got to go be more active. You got to join some social groups, do some events, go to some meetups, right? Get in touch with some of your hobbies and activities that like you do, whether it's sports or yoga or some type of crafting or some other skill, nature walks, whatever it is that you enjoy, go and actually do it and do like a number of things and do them with other people, right? Just simply be, um, more active and put yourself in more social scenarios so that you can meet people. Again, it's all about a network effect. Again, if you live in a small town of 200 people, then move. And again, go be around more people, right? And do your best to spend as little time at home as possible. That's something that I found is very important. And I do. If I'm spending, a certain number of hours a week or even a day at home outside of sleeping, I know there's something wrong. I'm going to get lonely. I'm going to get bored. I'm going to get depressed. It's not good, right? And a lot of times I find my students spend like a majority of their free time at home, right? And if you're not sleeping, and again, if it's outside, you got sleep, you got work, right? Presumably, you don't work from home. If you do, then that's one thing, but that's work time. And then sleeping, cool. Like out of the remaining, I don't call it 8 hours a day, right? You should be spending very few of them at home and out meeting people, interacting with human beings, face to face. That's the key element of developing abundance and an abundant dating life. Again, obviously without using online dating, which is a whole nother element. Right. Yes. Right. Too much time at home. Right. And you do work from. See, I worked from home for a very long time, and that's when I fell into that trap. And obviously with COVID, that's a big thing. A lot of people are working from home now, so I think that's a problem that more and more people are gonna have. I know when I first started working from home, that's generally seen as a luxury and a convenience and a perk or a bonus to aspire towards having. Um, that is, that's some truth to that. But one of the things that, I definitely fell into some type of depression from doing that because, there's a element of if you have to go to work and you're in an office, you're hanging out with your other colleagues, you can chat as you walk in, and just water cooler, get some coffee, talk to people about their weekend, just these little things, talking on the elevator, like just those little interactions are so important. And if you cut that out because you're working from home, and then you just got your video calls and about meetings and just business stuff, you miss all those little tiny social interactions. um, and that can be very detrimental. I know I was friends when I worked in an office. I'm friends with the people from all the different departments and on different floors, and I had like these little acquaintanceships, friendships with people. And I knew what they did on the weekend. I knew about their lives. And again, I never had to work with them. I never did business with them. They weren't important for me to talk to for my job, but they were people in the office. They worked for my company, and so I was friends with them. As soon as I started working from home, never saw those people, right? So that's a big part of my social community gone. So one of the things I recommend for people in that situation is, if you can work from home, find another option, like find a co-working space and like pay for the membership. Like, I mean, it's a couple $100 a month to have a desk at a co-working space or access to a co-working space. That's huge. If you can work from a cafe or something like that, then do that and just be around people while you're working and create a new business, office, work, social environment for yourself. I think it's really important now. Like the idea of working from home is the worst thing in the world for me. I like the fact that like, my business and my work is flexible enough so I can do that, but it's one of the worst things in the world for me. I think it's like, it's a terrible thing. And so countering it and, not necessarily having to go to my office, but go to my co-working space and working from there is a key way. And now I got friends there and I can say hi to them and they do completely different shit from me. But that gives me more social interaction. Cool. I love this abundance topic so much. I can talk forever about it, but we only have an hour today. So, um, how can online dating help? Oh, wow, this is a really good question. Whoever asked this question, really good job. Really, really, really smart question. So, how can online dating help or hinder having an abundance mentality? That is really good. That is really good. Okay, so how can online dating help or hinder your concept of having abundance when it comes to dating? So yeah, online dating can help and hinder your perspective of abundance in dating, and I've seen it go both ways. Let's start with help. Online dating can definitely help with your concept of abundance when it comes to dating, by just simply showing you all the options. I mean, like there's dozens of apps, and then there's apps for specific types of people. You got different religions and ethnicity apps, like it's endless. And just join any five of them and see that there's thousands of women looking for partners and vice versa. So just that alone can help you understand that there's a lot of need for you, right? If you can present yourself to that group um, of women and fill that need, like they are looking for a guy who's going to make them feel all the things that they want to feel from, a romantic relationship. That's why they're on the app. Like they didn't make it for any reason. And yeah, there's lots of bots and like silly adverts, but like that's even still that's like such a small percentage of them, right? And the reason why those adverts and bots are there because again there are so many women who are genuinely looking to meet a guy to date and have a romantic relationship with, right? So again, that very much helps, and it allows you again if depending on where you are or time constraints in your schedule, it allows you to have access and make yourself available to thousands of women, again, from home, which again, I don't recommend spending too much time at home. Go out and meet people and interact with people, obviously safely with COVID going around, but go and do that and have those, real one-on-one, face-to-face, or not one-on-one, but face-to-face in-person interactions. But again, you can see that there are a lot of women looking to meet someone. And I think dating apps and online dating are great for demonstrating that and allows you to, very quickly present yourself to 1,000 women very fast, where there's few opportunities to do that so efficiently. Um, on the flip side, uh, the dating online, so yeah, on the flip side, dating online can be a hindrance to an abundance mentality because online dating is a very unique and still very new way of interacting with people, and arguably it's not the best, right? It allows us to have scale, but to know that hey, I'd like to date another individual, simply a few pictures and some profile words and messages isn't really enough, right? Particularly for women who are going to be less focused on the physical attraction of the opposite sex and are primarily attracted to physical elements primarily. Women aren't, and so meeting on a dating app is difficult. And so again, there's courses that Adam has, and we discuss this a lot on the ACE formula about how to maximize your effectiveness on dating apps. But it can be a hindrance if you don't do it well and you say, all right, I swiped on 1,000 women and I didn't get any dates. And I've seen that create a scarcity mindset in people. It's like, wow, I had 1,000 tries and I struck out 0 out of 1,000, right? And I'd argue like even if you had like 1 out of 1,000, you're probably doing well. So again, just do it again. And again, abundance mentality, just give yourself more opportunities. But there is an element where crafting a dating profile online, is an art. Because it's not the most organic way to meet people. I'd say it's not the ideal way that women want to meet men. And so doing it in a way that works does take some skill, and we have training on that. But if you don't have success immediately, a lot of times people feel like, wow, okay, I've given it 1,000 tries and I failed, so now I'm really screwed. And I think it hurts a lot of people's confidence sometimes when that happens. And again, I started using dating apps very late in the game. Again, I was very much a successful coach and had a dozen girlfriends when dating apps became popular. So I didn't really use them very much in the beginning. And then largely because of students, I started playing with them and I'm like, wow, I kind of suck at this. Like, I don't get any dates. That's weird. Like, I'm dating 5 models, but I get no dates on my dating app. Why is that? Um, and then I learned, some of the other ACE Formula coaches helped me talk to Adam about it. Like, it's like, oh, okay, this is very different. And so I think it's important to realize that it's just one element and it's a good tool to develop and put in your arsenal, but it's not the end all and be all. So if you haven't had success with dating apps, don't let that put you in a scarcity mindset. There's things you can do to, again, dating through a computer. We're not exactly cyborgs, but we're kind of becoming them. That's a skill that you probably don't have, and it is a skill that you need to learn in order to do effectively. So I think that's one way that you know, online dating can hinder your concept of abundance. Don't let it do that. Don't get caught in scarcity. Stay abundant. Again, join Ace Formula. Obviously, we talk about it at length. Cool. Guys, you guys are liking this. Thanks, Ben. Good looking out. Vindy, good looking out. Cool. Let's see what else we got. I like that question. That was a really good question. Um, this is interesting. So, what are the pitfalls from abundance mentality when dating? So, what are the pitfalls from using an abundance mentality when dating? This one is tough. You know, the pitfalls in using an abundance mentality towards dating are really, I don't really think there are any. I don't think there are many pitfalls. I don't think there are any at all from having an abundance mentality when dating. Like, it really provides a base of power and confidence, and generosity, and again, lack of neediness and lack of scarcity, and a air of giving, which, when you're interacting with any other human being, especially as a prospect for a romantic relationship, I think approaching it from a giving, generous, caring, outwardly, loving perspective is always going to be the right answer. And fundamentally, the abundance mentality, that's what it's all about. The opposite of that, scarcity and neediness and taking, and feed me, serve me, is is um, is never going to be the way you should really approach any interaction with another human being. Um, I think maybe if there is a pitfall, it's a misunderstanding of what abundance means, right? So I think that could be a mistake if you just totally misunderstand. Again, if you're in the ACE formula, I talk about it enough that gets cleared up real fast. But again, if maybe watching this video, the idea of abundance, I think sometimes people get in the pitfall of meaning, okay, well, I just have sex with a bunch of women, and focusing on like quality, or sorry, focusing on quantity instead of quality, right? And then maybe, I'm dating 20 different women, and I'm lying to all of them, and they all think that, like, we're in monogamous relationships when not, right? That's abundance, right? That's not abundant at all, because the true abundance mentality is going to be always very open and honest, right? It's always going to be like, hey, I'm not in this kind of just want to hang out, have fun, be friends, and if we end up with 2.4 kids and a dog 10 years from now, that's cool. If we just end up friends and hanging out on the weekends and watching the game, that's also cool. If it's somewhere in between, that's cool. But let's just play it by ear and get to know each other and hang out. Are you cool with that? And most people are going to say yes, because it's very low pressure and it's very friendly. It's not presuming anything. The few who say no, it's like, no, if this is not the first date of a 20-year marriage relationship, then I don't want to be involved. And that's cool. And then the abundance mentality is comfortable letting that person say, hey, I want you to have what you want. Go, go with God, go into the universe, and have what you want. I'll introduce you to any of my buddies that want that. That's cool. We can still be friends or not. There's, again, I can meet another 1,000 women, tomorrow. And so again, that's the true abundance mentality. Yeah, a pitfall would be thinking that you need to lie, or not be very clear and open and honest about your intentions. I think another misunderstanding is saying that the goal is simply to have an abundance, and again, focusing on quality, or sorry, again, focusing on quantity rather than quality. And there may be a time for that, like I said, I've said before, where again, you want to play the field and date a lot of women, but at certain point, that may start to lack a level of intimacy, right? Because there's just only so many hours in the day, and over time, there's going to be a type of person that's going to be higher quality to you, right? And it's just like, who's going to merge more with you? Like, I've dated a lot of women who like to watch sports, but I don't like to watch a lot of sports, right? I rather go to the ballet. So I found out the women who I've spent more long-term, deeper relationships with are generally more artistic women who appreciate the arts, dance, and things like that. So again, there was a time when I was dating dozen plus women at the same time. Eventually, that's narrowed down to about five or so that again for me are higher quality, right? And now I know that about myself, and again I can filter better. But um, you know, having just enough days in the week and hours in the day to have that intimacy and get closer with a person, that's important, and that will come. And so, and again, the abundance mentality is not that, okay, well, I went from whatever 12 girlfriends down to three, right? That's doesn't defy an abundance mentality. It's that, look, these are the three that are quality for me. That's still important. And if for some reason those relationships didn't work out, I wish those women well. I hope they find whatever they want. I'm glad that we were able to hold hands through a certain stage in our lives, and they're going to go and live great lives, and maybe we'll stay friends. Hopefully we do. Typically we do, but if not, that's also cool. And I can find another person for the next stage of my life, for the next 10 years of my life with, and I still know that there are plenty of women who are of that high quality, by my definition, in the world, and I will eventually find them. So again, that's true abundance, not a misinterpretation of what it means. Abundance isn't about quantity. I think that's really important. It's just knowing that you have a lot of options, and they're high quality. Again, just due to sheer numbers. However you define quality, there is an abundance of quality available to you, but you have to, be proactive and go present yourself to them and find them. So, yeah, generally speaking, though, there's no pitfalls in abundance unless you misunderstand it fundamentally. So I think that's the summary answer. Good stuff. Oh, see, I see Ben. Ben, perfect. Yeah, Ben saying, a classic pitfall, lying to women. Yeah, exactly. That's a pitfall, and that means you misunderstand it, right? Because you should never have. I think I've always had trouble lying. Like I can't even like joke lie about stuff because I just don't know how to do it because it comes from a place of fear, and which is the exact lack of abundance. And so, yeah, you never want to do that. That's lying is always a key, that you're scared of something. You're scared of losing something because otherwise you wouldn't lie about it. You must be afraid of something and something going wrong or afraid of losing something. That's the exact opposite of abundance. All right, cool. Got two more on the docket, and then I'm gonna open up some time for a few extras if anyone has any. Um, So why are so many people, decent people single nowadays? I think the reason why so many people, and decent good people are single nowadays is a combination of things. I think it's one, a very much a scarcity mentality. Again, and that comes, like I said, from society and culture and, Hollywood TV movies and things like that, which are very unrealistic, and they're selling this like Disney fantasy, which is just completely false. Um, and then I think combining that also with our technology and our interconnectedness, right? I think people see that, again, with online dating and just the way society has opened up over, I don't know, say the last 50 years, people travel, they can move to different cities and stuff. That wasn't really a thing, 50 plus years ago, right? And it's relatively new development. Most people got married and met someone that they grew up with in their hometown, and it was very local. Whereas now, people travel around, they, grow up here, go to school there, end up working there, change jobs 3 years later, move somewhere else, go to the other side of the world. I think with all of those options, I think people see that they have a lot of options, but there's still the scarcity mentality towards those options, ironically. And it makes people feel like they're going to make a bad choice. And so I think a lot of people are very scared to actually date and like just present themselves and I guess what's the word I'm looking for? Make themselves vulnerable to a relationship that may or may not be perfect. And again, I think it's a lot of part of this idea that um, human beings should be monogamous from the time they meet person to death, and that there's this one person, this idea of like a soulmate that's going to be your one person for the entire length of your life, and like that can happen. The idea that that's the only acceptable way to have a good relationship, and if it doesn't last for the entire rest of your life, then it's a failure. I think that's completely false, and that's very dangerous. And again, that is like 100% scarcity mindset, right? And that's the danger. And when you do have that mindset, it forces you to put too much weight into this next choice, and there's a lot of pressure into this next choice. It's like, wow, I have so many choices. There's a great TED talk actually that talks about how more choices actually make it more difficult to make decisions, and usually cause people, and this is like a psychological study, um, the combined with some kind, obviously some math, that over a certain number of choices, people will just refuse to make a choice because the fear of making the wrong choice is so high. And some very savvy businesses apply it, like Apple, for example, right? Like there's always like only three choices of like Apple product, right? There's a small, medium, and large, and they got like four colors, right? There's the three colors that they've always had, and then like they rotate. There's like usually there's like a pink, there's a red, and then maybe I think there's a green one now, but like there's at max there's ever like four colors. You get four colors, three sizes. Boom. That's it, right? And that's why it's one of the reasons why Apple's such a successful business. If you look up like the problem of choice, it's a great TED talk that explains that, and I think that's a big part of why people, so many decent people are single right now, is because they're frozen and they're scared to interact with it because they feel like if they do interact and if they do date someone, it has to be monogamous from the beginning, and that monogamous beginning has to go for the rest of their life, right? And again, back to I've said this before, one of the most important things you can do is again play the field, and again do it ethically and openly, and just be very clear. It's like, hey, we're dating, and it doesn't even need to be sexual relationships. You could just have friends of the opposite sex that you hang out with and eat with and do activities with. Like it can be just a very like platonic type date, and you can do that with dozens of women and be very open and honest about that, right? And again, you can also sleep with dozens of them and then be open and honest about that as well. um, but again, I think that's why so many people are singles, that they're it's very much, I liken it to poker, which is one of the reasons why I got really good at poker. I'm always comfortable folding a hand. I don't feel that any one hand I've got to win the entire game or tournament or make $1 million on it, right? Same thing with like the lotto, like your odds, like if you didn't win $100 million in the lotto, but you only won 10 grand, would that be okay? All right, cool. So again, you might meet somebody and you might only be dating them for 3 months. That's okay, right? Enjoy that 3 months, treat them well. Hopefully they treat you well. If not, know where your boundaries are and then move on, right? It doesn't have to be the $1 billion jackpot anytime you're in interaction. And I think people, again, I think a lot of society trains us to be that way and think that that's the only acceptable thing. And so there's a lot of unnecessary pressure there. And that's why people, there's so many good people, decent people who are single right now for no good reason. So one of the reasons why I teach this, because I'm hoping to make people feel less lonely and less single and find love in relationships. So I think it's important. Let's see. Boom. There was one more pre-question. So, what type of men or women should someone never date? Hmm. What type of men or women should people never date? I think the type of man or woman that you should never date, whatever your preference is, but these people are always the wrong answer. Is anyone who's manipulative and I think overly judgmental. Someone who's going to help you and critique you and make you better and give you constructive criticisms. I think is always good. I found my best relationships have been with women who, again, I made them feel comfortable telling me things like that. So again, that's partly on you. But if it's super judgy in a very negative way or manipulative, you never want to be with that. I think people who again are not open-minded are the types of people that you probably don't want to date. I think people who are very focused on taking and not giving, and just again any interaction of any type between two human beings, whether it's in business or familial or friendship or a relationship, there's got to be, I think it should start from a perspective of giving, and then sort of a mutual giving, and again when someone gives to you, then be comfortable receiving, and then vice versa. But um, I think a lot of times relationships, you can see very quickly someone's looking to take. It's like, what are you going to give me? Give me, give me, give me, give me, and take, take, take. I think avoiding people like that is probably always the right answer. Again, maybe a conversation can get through that, but it's not something that those are not people that you want to be with. You want someone who's going to compliment you, make you a better person, help you grow. And again, that sometimes means, critiquing and constructive criticism. But again, if the goal is to, hey, I want you to be better, I want you to be more successful, I think you should probably not do this, maybe try this. That's different than, saying, hey, you're a bad person, you're blah 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 blah. And if the goal is to make you feel bad, then those people are probably people you want to avoid. If the goal is, hey, I want to help you, I want you to be better, I know you have more in you, um, and I think you'd be happier if you did X or stop doing Y. Those people, that's very different. So I think you'd like those folks. Cool. So those are the questions that we're sending in advance. We've got like a couple minutes left. It's great having you guys here. Again, Chris Hollywood from the ACE Formula. I am the resident abundance coach. Happy to answer a couple more questions. If someone wants to type them in, I think I'm going through. Thanks for all the cool comments, guys. Vindy, Ben, it's good to see you guys. Again, anybody have any final questions, points of clarification on anything that I went through today? Boom, boom. All right, cool. Well, I will be back here next month answering more questions. So obviously put them in the chats, put them in the forums, and they'll be compiled. And again, I'll have a new list next month. And I look forward to helping you all guys with abundance. See you next time on Ask the Dating Coach. Signing off, Chris Hollywood from the ACE Formula. Peace.